is Barbara Cliff, and I am the co-chair of Live Little Lake County. We are a grassroots organization, a coalition, whose mission is to promote policies in Lake County for sustainable, strong, healthy, and vibrant communities. We're here today in a show of unity with Chairman Lawler to discuss the current events regarding Route 53 extension proposal in Lake County, our shared future vision for the decommissioning and revisioning of the corridor of state-owned land, as well as our intention to chart a new course for transportation and transit in Lake County. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge a few of our elected officials and organizations in attendance today. I will begin with Jeff Warfel, Lake County Board, in the back here, actually in this district. One of our coalition partners, Moms Clean Air Force, is here, Kelly Nichols. Stacy Myers from Open Lands. We have Chuck Frank in attendance, who not only is a member of the local Sierra Club, but he is a Sierra Club National Board member. Sorry, I paperclipped my notes. I would like to acknowledge Mayor Mancino from Hawthorne Woods. Sandy Hart from the Lake County Board. Steve Carlson from the Lake County Board. I think I got everybody in attendance. Yeah? Okay.
Barbara, Trustee Ponzio from the Village of Hawthorne Woods, one of our trustees who's been working on our task force.
Thank you, Trustee Ponzio. Thank you for being here today. We are delighted that Chairman Lawler, in a bold and courageous move, withdrew his support for the Route 53-120 extension proposal into Lake County yesterday, after hearing the concerns of the people of Lake County and examining the financial and political dynamics at play regarding this project. It has been our position all along that this project is unneeded, unaffordable, and unfair. This highly controversial project will increase traffic congestion, increase our taxes in Lake County, waste taxpayers' money, and disrupt our quality of life. It's not even a legitimate economic development plan. It's a 1950s Field of Dreams economic development plan in a 21st century economy that will create irreversible urban sprawl and destruction of the open space we hold so dear. Nor is it in keeping with the values and desires of modern businesses or millennials and other young people who desire to live in walkable, bikeable, and sustainable communities. We are for solutions to traffic congestion. We are for investment in projects that will reduce traffic, are affordable, and can be done quickly. The reality is that the Route 53 extension is never going to happen. It is a fiscal and political impossibility now, and the tollway knows it. The support for this project is collapsing like a house of cards. Stakeholder environmental organizations are unified in our opposition. Senator Link and Rita Mayfield, the Lake County members of the General Assembly on the Blue Ribbon Advisory Council, or BRAC, who studied this project for several years, withdrew their support and have voiced concerns about the erosion of environmental protections. We applaud Chairman Lawler for listening to the people of Lake County. We are all here to move beyond this decades-old disagreement and to unify behind solutions that work for all of us. We are here to say yes to road and transit projects that will reduce traffic. Hold on. We are here to say yes to keeping what we all love about Lake County, a place where we can live, work, and enjoy our open spaces. We are all partners in planning the best future for Lake County. That starts today, and together we can do it. Thank you, Chairman Lawler, for turning the page on the ideas of the past and looking toward a better future. Got a lot of notes up here. I'd like to introduce my good friend and co-chair of Live Little Lake County, Evan Craig. Evan is an engineer by trade, a resident of Vernon Hills, chair of the local Sierra Club Woods and Wetlands Group, and has led many successful environmental campaigns.
Thank you, Barbara. So I'd like to give all of you an opportunity to have a seat. These chairs are for you. And otherwise, I'll just turn the podium away. So, yeah, the Sierra Club is a founding partner of the Livable Lake County Coalition. This Stop the Route 53 tax hike campaign is a textbook example of grassroots organizing. We found once again that when presented with clear information, the public will make the right choice. There's really no secret to what we do. As everyone who has attended one of our house parties knows, we use information in the Tollway's own reports to reveal and explain the extreme costs and consequences of Route 53. Anyone willing to spend time reading them will find the same information and will likely come to similar conclusions. When we inform and organize citizens, we've become a more powerful voice that can bring about positive change, like Barbara described. Today, we welcome and thank officials who have heard us and support our vision. And we call on all of our representatives to choose a brighter future for Lake County without the Route 53 extension. I'd like to thank our amazing yellow-shirted core team members in attendance. I'd like to thank our coalition friend and partner organizations of Livable Lake County that are in attendance. I'd like to thank all of our volunteers, including our host today. I'd like to thank our generous donors, especially Tony Dean, for their past and present support. I'd like to thank our credentialed, experienced, and phenomenal team of advisors, Verena Owen, Jackie Kendall, who's here today, Bill Morris, who couldn't be, and Karthik Chandramuli. I'd like to thank our National Sierra Club board members, Chuck Frank and President. I'd like to thank the LA Sierra Club chapter staff and volunteer leaders, especially Joyce Blumenshine, who's given us unswerving support. Finally, I'd like to thank our thousands of petition signers and our hundreds of online petition supporters. We thank you for helping bring about this milestone today.
Thank you, Evan. Our next speaker, Karthik Chandramali. Karth is an experienced business leader who's passionate about civic innovation and entrepreneurship in Lake County. He recently launched 2 startup companies. He previously held leadership roles at Toyota and Motorola. Karthik has lived in Lake County for 9 years as a resident of Mundelein in a community that would be negatively impacted by the extension of Route 53 and is active in local educational reform efforts. He is a graduate of the Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government and the University of Louisville, and although he's very modest, he is our Livable Lake County resident brainiac. Karthik.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Karthik Chandramali. Thank you again for that very kind introduction. Next month, it'll be 10 years that I'm a resident of Mundelein, Illinois. I moved to this area to work for Motorola, and now I'm a technology entrepreneur and recently became president of the new Education Foundation for Mundelein School District 75. And I'm here this morning because I can see the writing on the wall. The answer to our economic growth challenges isn't more suburban office parks, more strip malls, more roads, all of them islands that are disconnected from the surrounding communities. We all know that long-term economic growth is really something that's earned. It's not a simple formula. It requires investment in kids and education because we know that companies pick their locations where they can get the best talent. Increasingly, those companies are placing emphasis on smart transit and ways to connect people with quality jobs. Workforce quality really means everything to any company looking to expand, and I know this from firsthand experience. I led the site selection for Toyota's factory in San Antonio, Texas. And the reason we chose that location was because of workforce quality. It wasn't because of roads, wasn't because of the low income tax rate, it wasn't because of tax incentives, it was because of talent. And for us, it was also about the community, the quality of the community, the quality of life. And I think that that's also true for Lake County. We have many of those same advantages here: strong workforce, great schools, great quality of life, and we want to enhance that. It's really a huge relief that this proposed extension is not going to be hanging over our heads for the next decade. And I have to really commend Chairman Lawler, and I think it's rare in this day and age to have an elected official be willing to reconsider a decision based on data. It's a novel thing, and it's a sign that our political process can actually work. That takes real leadership, and it's the smart decision to make. It's the right decision to make. And if you're in the world of corporate finance, you'll hear this phrase a lot. They say, "Don't throw good money after bad." Well, you know, this is the perfect project for us to know we should cut our losses. The data against expanding Route 53 is getting stronger and stronger every day. And we see leading cities that are emphasizing livable communities, walkable communities, and those are the key drivers of new economic growth. We also know from the failed experiences of other cities that just expanding roads to make cars move efficiently is a recipe for more congestion. So if we're going to avoid that induced traffic demand, it's really about creating new ways to move people efficiently and also doing placemaking. So we actually want people to slow down and stop and do things in our communities, because that's how we create a vibrant community, not by driving through it faster. In Mundelein and in our surrounding communities, I feel like we now have a unique opportunity to chart our own economic future and not just have our downtown bypassed by a poorly conceived road. So as other elected officials hopefully will come together around today's announcement, I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to create some space for a long overdue conversation about what smart economic growth looks like in Lake County, and how that how that vision of sustainable growth can be married with protection of this beautiful environment that we have. One thing I'll say is I'm absolutely convinced that this old, tired formula for economic development is not going to work. We have a 20th century playbook for 21st century challenges, and it's time to move forward on something new. Cities are attracting innovation jobs and creative talent, and we have to think about how we're going to deal with that challenge. How are we going to retain our creative talent and attract the innovation companies of the future, or startups? We really owe it to our kids to be responsible stewards of our public space, to make decisions that are not only fiscally sound and environmentally smart, but are also future-proof. Things are going to change in the next 10 years. We're probably not going to be driving our cars anymore, I hope. Maybe they'll be driving us. And what does that world look like? I don't think we've spent much time thinking about that, but it's coming fast. And so ultimately, I think our budgets reflect our values and aspirations. We don't need a $40 million engineering study to tell us something that we already know. Let's make our budget priority reflect what we all want to see: a vibrant Lake County that isn't just a sprawling mess of roads. And I'm excited about starting that conversation with many of the people here, and engaging with the broader business and environmental community to figure out some new ways to jumpstart smart growth in Lake County. Thank you very much.
Tony Dean, like Evan Craig, needs no introduction to anyone who's been keeping Route 53 out of Lake County for decades. Tony is a Long Grove resident, an invaluable and seemingly tireless supporter of our efforts, the former mayor of Long Grove, one-time director of the Illinois Department of Conservation, currently the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and a retired president and chief operating officer of the John Nuveen Company. Tony Dean.
I am Tony Dean, and over the last 40 years, I have been a resident of Chicago, Naperville, Springfield, Lombard, North Barrington, and Long Grove. And in those 4 decades, I have worked to stop the extension of Illinois 53. It is now, and always has been, environmentally damaging. It is now, and always has been, a destructive, has been destructive of neighborhoods, villages, and towns. It has been, and will still be, financially unaffordable no matter how you cook the books. More importantly, for more than 40 years, and this is the key point I want to make, it has been a block on any real progress on transportation planning in Lake County. It's always been, everything else has been held hostage for 53. We need to kill this delusional zombie road once and for all. Otherwise, it will be just like the locusts who come back every 7 years. For too many years, yesterday, Chairman Lawler took an important first step by rejecting the unaffordable Route 53 extension. Today, he joins us by calling on Governor Rauner to immediately end the toll highways paralysis of Lake County by endless studies of the impossible extension of Route 53. Chairman Lawler has now committed to take the additional steps necessary to permanently kill this project and start a new process. For too many years, Lake County officials have bet the future of Lake County on the ineffective Route 53 proposal, while pretending that billions of dollars would materialize without mortgaging our future. Many of them that experienced or expressed surprise in their newspaper yesterday were no doubt hoping that citizens would not hold them accountable for indulging in this rapacious fantasy for another term. We call on all state representatives, senators, and our governor to stop being complacent with the waste of our money, our future, on a false promise by the arrogant and unaccountable Toll Highway Authority. Thank you.
How fast is
Joe Mancino. Joe Mancino has served as the mayor of Hawthorne Woods since 2009. He is the president of the Lake County Municipal League, serves on the Lake County Community Development Commission, and a trained first responder on the Hawthorne Woods Community Emergency Response Team. In his non-public servant life, Mayor Mancino is CEO of Digital Green Sign. Mayor Mancino.
Thanks, Barbara, and thanks all of you for being here this morning. And I appreciate the invitation from the Sierra Club. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Terrific. I will be short. I think we had a conversation here that everyone appreciates brevity when dealing with public officials. So I will be short this morning. As you know, the village of Hawthorne Woods has been in firm opposition of Route 53 through Lake County. That road would cut through our village, and it would have tremendous negative impacts on our residents in perpetuity. It was a forever change for the village of Hawthorne Woods, and we have been in opposition since the beginning. However, our opposition has never just been about one community. We were concerned about the region in general and what this road would bring to Lake County. We heard from all of our residents directly on a regular basis why they moved to Hawthorne Woods, why they moved to the region. They moved here because of the environmental sensitivity, the beauty that we have, and the environmental resources in the county. After all, we're called Lake County, not Road County. The village also acknowledged, as Chairman Lawler has yesterday, that in these unprecedented financial times in the state of Illinois, the pursuit of an unfunded road, a dream, is both untimely and unwise. We have always recognized that throughout the years. Today we stand in solidarity with the Lake County Board Chairman, Aaron Lawler, and a good friend of mine. Aaron and I don't always agree, but we're supportive of our own independent thoughts on all subjects that affect our region. But today we are in agreement. And his withdrawal of support of the Route 53 extension now further demonstrate that there truly is no consensus in the region. And this is something that Tollway has always asked for. They wanted consensus in order to move forward. It is, Hawthorne Woods joins all the other communities and community leaders in calling for the governor and the Tollway to consider the outcome of the previous 2 and 3 environmental impact studies in which no road was built. We have spent enough money already on this project, and we urge them to immediately stop the expenditure of any other funds on this project, and specifically with the environmental impact study. The chairman's requesting this. We support him, and we want to join him and begin working on transportation solutions that are local, that are innovative, and that help preserve what we love so dearly here in the village. We're ready to join you, Aaron. We will be your biggest supporter in this endeavor. We call on the Tollway to suspend additional contracts and expenditures as a consensus to abandon this project has never been clearer than it is today. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, Steve Carlson, has been a Lake County Board member since 2002. He's the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee, a longtime environmental champion, and manages to keep a much-needed good sense of humor always.
Good morning. In that vein, Mr. Mayor, I promise to be very brief. You're not here to hear me. I've used this phrase before, but today it seems particularly appropriate. Please pardon the pun. It's been a long and winding road. The Route 53 project has been around in some form for nearly as long as I've been alive, and that's saying something. In its most recent incarnation, it was a well-intentioned attempt to balance perceived transportation needs with environmental and fiscal concerns. Many dedicated people attempted to create a project which, in my opinion, was doomed from the start. The fiscal, political, and environmental hurdles proved to be too much to overcome. This is a good day. Moving forward, all concerned will now be free to address the continuing traffic gridlock in Lake County with a reasoned, balanced, fiscally sound set of solutions which will create jobs, address the condition and expansion of our existing road network, allow commercial and residential development to occur where appropriate, and continue to protect our rich natural environment. I am very pleased to support Chairman Lawler in his decision to move forward in Lake County with a vision for the future that will leave a legacy for us all. And now it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you my friend and colleague, Lake County Board Chairman Aaron Lawler.
Thank you very much. I think I'm the only one that went paperless today. Yes. You know, yesterday was a big day. I think there's a lot of jaws that are still on the ground across Lake County, and I didn't really prepare anything other than what I released yesterday. And I just wanted to take a little bit of time to speak from the heart, because the question really is, why this 180? Joe said yesterday, this is a big change, Aaron. And we started this process really looking for a way to build a new type of road that did mitigate environmental damage, that did provide money for conservation and trail connections and non-motorized travel. And I think the work that was done was very noble, and I think a lot of the components that were arrived at in the BRAC report are extremely progressive and could be used across the country for how we address transportation and how it intersects with our environment. There's one person that hasn't been mentioned today who I want to thank, and that's George Ranney. George and I embarked on a partnership when I became chairman of the county board to really look at this issue. And he has taught me a great deal about conservation and the environment and just a new way of thinking. He certainly challenged me and many community leaders across the county to think and act differently, and so I want to thank him for that. But as I mentioned yesterday, the state is in I think a 10th unprecedented month without a state budget. Gridlock seems to be getting worse, not better. Opinions and decisions are becoming short-sighted, not taking the long view. And so it's incumbent upon us, before the tollway spends money on a $40 to $50 million environmental impact study, that we take a step back and that we really evaluate where we're at. And I did that evaluation, I did that gut check. And I want to be very clear that what we're doing today and support for transportation are not mutually exclusive. We know that we need road improvements desperately in this county. We know we need transit improvements desperately, not just in this county, but in this region. And so the question becomes, as we refocus, what is the best way to do that? And I have become a believer that the best way to do that is through investing in our existing transportation network. I come to this conclusion also cognizant of the schedule that the tollway laid out. Yesterday, the tollway, I guess, reminded me that many of the questions that I have would be answered in the EIS, as if I didn't know that already. But my concern is more with the schedule. The EIS will take 4 years, starting in 2016 and would run through 2020. The tollway's financial projections are based in 2020 dollars, which would mark midpoint of construction. So if an EIS takes 4 years, and then we have to do land acquisition, and then it is likely, I think that this would go into litigation, right, Evan? And that we would have to secure additional funding in Springfield, that the project could no longer be based on those 2020 dollars, and I believe would have to be based on something more like 2025 dollars, which adds a cost escalation factor. At a conservative 3% cost escalation, that could be $70 million a year. Eventually, by 2025, the funding gap could exceed the current project budget. And so I think we need to be realistic. We need to focus on what we can do. We need to focus on state and county roads, on local roads that will make an impact on our motorists, our employees, our residents, and their quality of life. But the exciting thing is what we have the opportunity to accomplish. We have now a corridor of land that is about 2/3 of it is owned by the state of Illinois. And I think we have an opportunity through community partnerships, partnership with the state, partnership with environmental leaders and community members to revision this into a greenway. And it really has to accomplish 3 things. First, it must protect and preserve sensitive wetlands and other high-quality areas in perpetuity. We have the opportunity for a new trail in Central Lake County, a non-motorized corridor. And there are parts of the corridor that are currently owned by the state that might be useful for economic development, balanced economic development. And so I think that's an exciting partnership, because we have been having this conversation about what does Lake County look like, what drives our economy, and it is access to talent. We need a transportation network that gets that talent to and from work, but when I talk to employers, their top 3 concerns are actually not the state of the state, they're not tax structure, it's usually access to talent, access to transportation are among the top 2. And so I launched an initiative called Leadership Lake County aim to work on how we can better attract and retain young professionals to live and work here. And it's all about knowing what our role is. On the public sector side, we've done a lot of work, a lot of focus groups with Lake County Partners, and millennials in particular want access to transit, they want access to recreation, they want walkable communities, they want access to things to do at night and during the day. On the private sector side, they want different types of amenities on their work site, perhaps fitness centers, areas to congregate. Different companies have different corporate cultures. I know I'm going way far afield of 53, but different companies have different corporate cultures, and young professionals want to see opportunities to telecommute. They want to see flexible work schedules. They want to see different types of things. These are the challenges that we also need to answer in a 21st century Lake County. I want to close by thanking everybody here. Obviously, this decision, I didn't make it lightly. It took a lot of thought, and I know it was the right thing to do. Thank you.
While Chairman Lawler's withdrawal of support for this project is, in our estimation, the final nail in the coffin of this project and an important opportunity to chart a new course, our work is not yet finished. We pledge to continue working with our local communities, elected officials, policymakers, and our partner organizations toward a new vision that integrates the protection of our natural resources with effective transportation solutions, sustainable economic development, and job creation strategies that position us to be competitive in a 21st century economy. We intend to stop the tollway from conducting the wasteful and unnecessary environmental impact study. We call on the Lake County Board to work together with us to create a task force to revision the corridor and permanently protect our natural resources. We ask that the state of Illinois offer their full cooperation to help Lake County to officially decommission the state-owned Route 53-120 corridor land in a manner that will protect our valuable natural resources and provide our communities and planning agencies with the certainty we need to move forward with real transportation solutions and a more modern economic development plan. We also ask CMAP to promote a more modern and efficient vision for transit in Lake County on their On to 2050 plan that protects our environment and embraces a more visionary approach to transportation and economic development. Lastly, we ask Chairman Lawler and the Lake County Board to create a working group of stakeholders, including Livable Lake County, to develop a forward-thinking plan for transportation in Lake County that is efficient and affordable, reduces congestion, creates greater opportunities for public transit, protects our open space that we value, healthy and vibrant communities, and positions us to be an economic leader in Illinois. Thank you for your time, and for the members of the media, our speakers will remain available for comment for you.